Okay. All right. So obviously, by the end of the session, we're going to review a few different types of audience response systems. For those of you that are using them already, if you want to share any tips or tricks that you've used. And then for those who are not, you should go away with a couple different options that you could download very easily and start incorporating. All right. So what are the uses of audience response systems? So this is pretty straightforward, but you could test either subjective or objective findings. So for example, if you want to gauge your audience and say, how do you feel about this? Because no one's talking to you or it's not a very interactive group, you might ask a more subjective question. If you want to gauge knowledge, like maybe you're doing some teaching and you want to know specifically what people think the answer is, you could do a more objective type question. One of the things we really like to do in our program, so we have residents, they get really competitive, they get excited about this. We have a medal board actually for Kahoot. So they get competitive about the questions and they get points for if they answer correctly. So you can use this to kind of pit residents against each other and their knowledge and reward them if they're doing well and if they're capturing the knowledge that you desire. Oh, no worries. I'll just cue you. So here's a few of the major response systems that we'd like to focus on today. So one of the most robust ones, so kind of the Cadillac of audience response systems, is called Polleverywhere. Polleverywhere is really nifty because there's lots of different options you can use. You can actually save the data and export it into an Excel spreadsheet. So if you want to be a little bit more scientific, you're probably going to go with this option. It's probably going to be the most costly option if you want all the full features. Kahoot, on the other hand, is very game-like. If you've played Kahoot, and we will play shortly here, it has really catchy music, so we really like it. The residents really like it. I find that it's fun to bring back kindergarten to our level of learning and make it really simple and fun. And then Mentimeter is another option. I've used it a little bit less. It still has a lot of the functionality, and you can do a free version as well. So we'll kind of go through each of these options. And then I haven't used Slido much, so I can't speak to that. But I kind of want you guys to take away a few of the ones that you could go home and try immediately after this lecture. Okay, so first of all, Polleverywhere. So what you're going to do, either on your laptop or your phone, you're going to either text UCIEM, I think it doesn't matter if you use caps or lowercase, to the number 22333, or you can go on your computer, pollev.com/UCIEM, and that'll kind of get you into the system. So when learners are starting to engage with this, they do have to enter this information, and then you're in, and you can start playing. So this is an example of a multiple choice question, so kind of the most straightforward, easiest type of question. So what is the capital of China? How many of you would know this? So you go ahead and you answer the questions. You can also make it so that the answers don't appear till the end. So if everybody puts Beijing, then maybe your learners aren't going to be engaged at all, or they're going to know the answer right away. So you can actually hide it so that they don't see all the responses until the end. All right, so looks like most of you got it right. Next one, so let's say you want to ask people, hey, what kind of pizza do you like? You can, basically in this one, it's going to be more of just, people are still answering the previous question, or it's just loading. So you're going to actually type in what type of pizza you like. So this is more of a word cloud or open-ended question, and you can do this in different formats. There is a word cloud function where it kind of pops up and grows larger if more people respond to it. And then this just kind of shows all the different responses segmentally. Pepperoni, pineapple, lots of different options. Okay, great. The next one is a picture form. So let's say you want to do more of a visual engagement, test learners. You can actually put different photos. So which of these patients has hyperthyroidism? I did this with the ENT doctors, and they were like, oh no. But essentially, you're going to, it's multiple choice, but with photos. Good job. Good yard. All right. So this is one I think is kind of cool and unique. Mentimeter also has a similar function where you can use photos, but Polleverywhere has where you could actually designate where on this photo the identified object is. So maybe for ultrasound, for example, it might be kind of cool to say, hey, like identify this ventricle, or, you know, where's the pathology? One other thing you could do is take like a Likert scale of photos, like smiley faces, and say, how do you feel about this? And people could like select which one they choose is the right response.
And for this one, you can't be on the phone. You have to be on the online version.
You have to be on your laptop, so it's one limitation to know about. I still think it's pretty. I think it should work on an iPad as well.
It works on an iPad. It works on any interface. It just
Okay.
doesn't work on the text messaging option.
So it sounds like you can do probably iPad, laptop, or if you have an app, which I haven't used the app, so I can't speak to that.
You could do it on your phone if you're on the internet. So if you were on like pollev.com/ECIEM,
Okay.
you can do it on your phone.
You just have to go through the website rather than the texting, which makes sense, obviously.
Or you use the Polleverywhere app.
Yes.
Cool.
Exactly.
Okay, so one feature that this has that some other audience response systems does not, that makes it kind of more unique, is the response segmenting. So basically you can form groups on the fly and have them answer one question, and then from that you would answer another question. So I'll show you an example of that right now. So basically, first of all, I want to know, where are you all from? Where were you born? So just answer A, West Coast, South, Midwest, Northeast, or outside of the U.S.
So you're joining a team right now. So you could similarly have your, say what year in residency are you? PGY1, PGY2, PGY3. And so you're joining a team right now by this question.
All right. West Coast and Midwest represent. All right. So you're all on your teams. So now we're going to ask you another question. Based on that, where do you like to go on vacation? So for example, I grew up in the Midwest in Wisconsin, and most people drive down to Florida or fly down to Florida. That was like our desired vacation spot. But maybe if you live in California, it's easier to fly to, Hawaii or drive up the coast. Awesome.
And so when you set this up in Polleverywhere, you set up this second question to segment responses based on the first question. So if you want, for example, if you want to have a competition between your PGY1s and your PGY2s, then you would see which team got more correct answers by segmenting responses. Or maybe you want opinions of your PGY1s or your PGY2s or your PGY3s. And so you want to know that based on class. And so basically you can see that under Northeast, people that were born in the Northeast, they like to go on vacation in the Caribbean or the wilderness. Whereas people who were born in the West Coast, they're more varied in where they like to go on vacation. So based on the first question where you joined a team, you are now answering the question and your answers will be linked to that team.
All right. Yeah.
Is there any way to get around the fact that I've noticed sometimes students will change their answer based on what's already up there? Like, the first person that answers,
Yeah.
it shows their answer.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people might be swayed to choose a different answer based on what people are already answering.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that probably in the word cloud, it wouldn't be that option. I don't know if you could speak to that. But in multiple choice, for example, you could hide the responses until you as the instructor decide to show them. So I think that's, an easy workaround. You may not be able to do that with all the different types of Polleverywhere options. Like there's one where you put things in order and that sort of thing, like some of the other more visual ones. But I know for multiple choice, you can limit the appearance till you would designate to.
And you can limit the number of times that they're allowed to answer too. So you can say that they're only allowed to answer once, and their first answer goes. So I pulled up Mentimeter for you.
So another one is called Mentimeter. Have any of you guys used this option? So it's not quite as sophisticated, but it still has a lot of the cool different functionality. So similar to Polleverywhere, you can do an open-ended response. What's your favorite ice cream flavor? And people could answer it. This one is free in some functionality. I've used it a couple of times before, and I like it okay. I guess I kind of like Kahoot a little better and Polleverywhere a lot better, but it just depends. If you're looking for something easy to try, you could try Mentimeter. So similarly, you have to go to Mendte.com and use a code to get in. Coffee. I like pistachio too.
And so to get on this one, you just go to the www.menti.com and then use the code 233040. So go ahead and have everybody log on to this.
Someone's very specific. Vanilla with brownie bits, specifically. The ice cream addict.
I really like Mentimeter. I think I probably like Mentimeter a little bit better than Polleverywhere. The one issue with Polleverywhere is that did you notice like a little bit of a slide lag?
Yeah.
And it's very uncomfortable when the internet's slow and you're presenting in front of an audience that you don't know, for example, and that 1 second delay is very uncomfortable sometimes. So that's kind of an issue with Polleverywhere. Mentimeter, you can also embed the slides into PowerPoint. You can also just do a web-based. You can actually do that for Polleverywhere too. And so sometimes perhaps the web-based version is slightly faster than the slide kind of appearing. But you can see that it has a similar functionality to Polleverywhere in the sense that you can write in an answer. So this is one kind of type of Polleverywhere question. And then, one type of Mentimeter question. There's a lot of different kind of fun functionalities in Mentimeter that I like. So here's one. Here's a second question. This is my question that I wrote because I like Dancing with the Stars. Who is your favorite contestant on Dancing with the Stars? And it's kind of fun because you can have pictures. So you can have pictures as your option. So kind of like the hyperthyroid Addison's question. You could have pictures rather than words.
This is really cool.
No one likes Tanya Harding.
Oh,
So sad. Thank you. Thank you for liking Tanya Harding. Whoever just liked Tanya Harding.
Everyone's supporting you, Megan.
And then here's kind of a different functionality of Mentimeter where you can do a percentage or you can do like a rating, for example. And so this is how would you and you can divide up. Can you think of like how you would use this in teaching?
How would you spend? I mean, maybe what proportion of the shift do you feel that you're receiving like actual teaching? That might be a way.
I think for like a differential diagnosis, maybe like which like what what diagnosis of these 5 diagnoses do you think is the most likely? And so people could put like 50% in one and then like 30% in another. Cool. So it's an opportunity to kind of rate different things. And so most people would buy meat. Yes.
Yes.
Can you just talk about, you may have already mentioned it, but so you used to be limited with Polleverywhere with how many people could use it at a given time. Is that still the case?
Depends.
And or is that less limited with Menticam and Kahoot?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a chart at the end where we'll kind of go over it. It depends if you want to pay for the higher version, you won't be limited quite as much as if you do the free version.
Yeah, the free version of Polleverywhere
It's 40.
it limits your number of respondents,
I
and
think
then
it's 40.
the free version of Mentimeter limits your number of questions. So it kind of just, it's like, what do you want to get limited? Some things going to be limited in the free versions, but I would pick just like one audience response system and like spend your money on that, or if you are going to spend your money. But you can get away with the free version for most of this stuff. But Mentimeter, I do not believe, I'll look.
We have a chart comparison on the last slide, so I don't want to misquote, but I think that
I don't think Mentimeter has a respondent limit.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay, so then here's another where you can use a Likert, which we found out is actually pronounced Likert Scale. We learned that this week, which I'm still not comfortable saying. So we're just going to go with Likert. So devastating. So you can do the Likert Scale. So you could have Likert scales up on the thing, and then you could have several questions at a time. So this is another functionality of Mentimeter. And then the last functionality of Mentimeter that I think is kind of cool is that they have a spider plot that you can do, where you can have, you could do this with, a wellness plot or a leadership plot or something like that. So this is kind of fun. So go ahead and play with this one and kind of see how this one works for you. I'm glad that smartphone isn't 10 for everybody. So this is like people are rating like which of the following things are important to you. And so you can kind of put weight and value on those items. And it can kind of show where your energy goes or where your, and you could do the same thing potentially for like a differential diagnosis again, or lab tests that they want to order, like picking lab tests and things like that.
Yeah.
So those are kind of a bunch of fun functionalities of Mentimeter. And then I'll pull this over. And then the problem too, as you can see that I'm experiencing right now, is with these online ones, you have to pull a window over if you're in, PowerPoint mode, rather than having, what is going on?
If you minimize it, probably be okay. Yeah, so for the Polleverywhere, as you may have noticed, it embedded directly into the PowerPoint, but there's that lag, and then this one, we just went straight onto the website.
Well, I need it for Kahoot. I'll just leave it right now. Oh, and then this was the last one. I'll just show you really quick. So they also have like a 2x2 matrix option is one other option. So that's kind of a cool option for Mentimeter.
Just click back on the PowerPoint itself, right? Yeah, there you go.
Do you have to download anything ahead of time?
Mentimeter, you just go to the website and create an account, and then you would play with it on there.
So what we did here is we just created a hyperlink into PowerPoint, and then you can just click on it. But then again, it's like you kind of have to deal with pulling the window over depending on what presenter mode you're in.
Polleverywhere, you have to have the software downloaded.
Yeah, so if you want to embed it into your presentation for Polleverywhere, you do have to download an app for your computer. It's pretty simple, and then you log in on it. The app allows you to kind of join those two into your PowerPoint. Because you can't, if you just go on the website, it won't embed into the PowerPoint. You could still do the link, which is fine. It's a little bit less seamless if you're giving a presentation to a group. Okay, so the next one is Kahoot. I like Kahoot. There's music. Hopefully the music works.
This is our favorite, is Kahoot.
Yeah. It doesn't have quite as much of the nifty features as you just saw with Mentimeter as far as the visualization. It's just so simple. So basically how this works is that it's going to give you a code to join. So basically you want to either go to an app, which most of you won't have, so kahoot.it, and you're going to type in a PIN. So most of our residents have the app downloaded because they're used to doing this. So this we actually use with our reading quizzes. So we have the Adams book segmented into different chapters, and depending on what block we're covering, we'll go over a quiz each week. So that's kind of the way that we use our metal board and the knowledge acquisition. Oh, you get to make a fun name. So when you go in, it'll ask you to create kind of whatever name you want to use, and the residents really have fun with this. They'll put each other's names and jokes, and usually they keep it pretty good, professional. Yeah. Oh, sound is press function and then right there. Oh no.
Bummer. Okay.
We may not have
The
sound.
best part of Kahoot is the sound, is the music.
So unplug it and turn your sound all the way up. And you also kind of respond.
I could hum it or sing it for you, but it wouldn't be as good. Oh well. Now you just have to download it and play it yourself. Okay, so as everyone joined, we have 21 players in the room. Anyone need more time? Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start our quiz.
I'm being your very bad technological assistant right now.
It's okay.
If I can get the mouse.
We'll get there. We'll do it.
You're right there. There you go. Thank you.
All right, might want to expand it as well so you can see. Cool. All right, so you're on a time limit. I forgot to mention that. So what is the capital of this state? If you can't see, you're probably at a disadvantage. But basically, you're going to go ahead and select the shape. So you get points not only for answering correctly, but answering quickly. So the residents are trying to answer as quickly as possible while also getting the correct answer to get full points. All right, and there was a time limit on that one. I believe, was it like 20 seconds? But you can set how long you want to answer the questions. So Montpelier, good job.
Vermont.
7 of you got it right.
G is in the lead.
Who's G? Do you want to show yourself? There's more questions left. All right, so what?
We need sound.
I know. Oh, no. All right, anyone recognize the movie? Yes.
Here, we'll play it again for you. Oh, shoot.
I think it's just an ad. It'll get to it.
Well, I had it specific.
Ah.
The line was, these are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
Good job.
Some
Rushmore.
people got it. I actually haven't seen this movie, so I would have gotten that wrong. G
G
is still in the lead. All right. What country is this? Red arrow. Belgium, Holland, Luxembourg, or Switzerland? I would do terrible in all of these. It's a small country, so maybe.
All right, Belgium.
So you may.
You're getting questions. So G is on a roll. That's what the little fire is for. So you're getting points for both answering quickly as well as answering correctly. So you're not going to get any points if you answer incorrectly, and then you will get more points the faster you answered with a correct answer.
Okay, so we have a couple questions left. You can still redeem yourself if you're not in the lead. Who is this? If you haven't watched the Jimmy Fallon Sing Off where they do the parodies, it's so good. I've watched it like 10 times. All right.
Good job, Emma Stone. What sport is this?
And all the while it's doing the question, it's playing the catchy music. So
I know the catchy music really makes it.
it really does.
It was like do 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 do. Cat just made it.
Coming from behind.
Whoa, G just got taken
Got
out.
knocked out.
And again, sorry, no music.
Oh, I know
Oh,
it's
there.
working. I don't know it's working for those, but not necessarily my generation. That's okay.
Europe. The final countdown. That's the name of that song.
Okay,
right.
so you get the podium at the end that shows who won. Kat, let's give her a round of applause. Good job, Kat. This doesn't make you feel good to play Kahoot and
Who's
win.
Murph?
Murph?
All right, good job. Third place. I know who is second place.
Shannon has seen this before, so she shouldn't have played. But that's okay. We'll let her take it. Okay.
So if you're doing this with learners, you actually can get a report. So on the back end, you can actually get all the answers. You can see if someone failed miserably. So you do get a report on the back end. So it's not just a game where they get to compete. I mean, that's great, and it honestly gets our residents who are all in their 30s really excited, surprisingly. But you also get a report on the back end. So if you wanted to, for med students or residents, to look at who's struggling, which topics they're struggling on, you do get that report.
Where's my arrow?
So Kahoot is nice. It's fun. The music is really engaging, so you have to make sure your speakers are working, unlike we did. So Kahoot's really fun, and it's trivia style. The problem with Kahoot, though, is that you have to have a bunch of questions all in a row. It's not something that you can integrate into your PowerPoint like question by question. So Kahoot would be something like I would do a pre-test or a post-test, an IRAT, or something like that for Kahoot. So that's, and then the other problem with Kahoot is that there's a character limit. So you can only put a certain number of characters in your STEM. So you wouldn't be able to put like an entire case presentation in your STEM.
And Mentimeters that way too.
And Mentimeters that way too. There are some workarounds. For example, you could screenshot a question and then put it as an image rather than the words themselves. And so that's one workaround for Kahoot. And then the other problem with Kahoot is that there's character limits on the answer choices as well. So those are some of the limitations of a Kahoot. In terms of Polleverywhere, it has the issue with the PowerPoint lagging slide, but Polleverywhere wouldn't be something that I would use if I wanted to do a bunch of questions in a row, and it doesn't have, I think that there is a new trivia style option for Polleverywhere, but it's not quite as user-friendly as Kahoot is, for example. And then Mentimeter similarly would be something that I would tend to do. Mentimeter, I would tend to do more questions in a row because you're going to power through those questions. But with the free version of Mentimeter, you can only actually do 2 questions at a time. You can circumvent this by just having separate sets of 2 questions each and then just having hyperlinks for each one. So you could technically get most of the features of Mentimeter with the free version. It's just that you have to do 2 questions at a time rather than being able to do like 10 questions in a row. some of the other features is that Polleverywhere does have a respondent limit, and then there's
For the
no
free
respondents
version.
for the free
Yeah.
version, but
Yeah,
for
it's
the
40.
for the paid version, it doesn't. You might ask your university too, because for the undergraduate medical education, a lot of them have already purchased. Like I didn't know about that when I first started trying to figure out the audience response systems, that our university had just purchased a Polleverywhere account. So you might check with your undergraduate medical education or even your undergraduate institution to see if they have a departmental or a university contract already with Polleverywhere or one of the other audience response systems.
Yeah, and we all share the same account login. So if you have a number of educators that might want to go in on it, get reimbursed, you could do it that way and just share your login and password info. And then Kahoot, as you can see, it's free, no limits. You already talked about most of those features. And then Mentimeter as well. There's both a free and a paid option. Obviously, the paid option is going to give you more features. And then the question limit is included in that.
You had a question?
Yeah.
You said you keep like an account of their points for Kahoot.
Yeah.
Do you do that manually, or will this, if they use the same nickname?
So they have to use the same so you could give them a nickname. For example, you give them a number or something that they always have to put at the end of their nickname, like 13 or 22. And so that would be kind of your way of keeping track of it. And then Kahoot automatically saves it, so you can immediately export it to Excel. So that would be something. So Kahoot, they don't have to choose to use their proper nickname. I would encourage people not to use their actual names, but if you could have like a number or something like that could identify them for you. But you don't really see like who your last place is anyway, so if they did use their real names, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I think we're going to move on in the next lecture, but if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask afterwards. Thank you.